NASA once led the space race by sending humans to the moon in 1969 and by sending rovers to Mars. But in the past 20 years, they really haven't done that much. So, will NASA ever be as innovative as they were before? And at this rate, will they even send a human to Mars?
Let them get a view from there and see what the field of view looks like.
Starting off, let's talk about if NASA will ever send a human to Mars. So to answer this question, we're going to have to look at two things. And the two things are, what do the majority of people think and what do the conspiracy theorists think? Well, the majority of people think is that NASA is a waste of money. They think that we shouldn't be spending money on going to space because we have problems here on Earth, like starvation. And they also think, why don't we explore Earth before we go on to other planets? Well, those two things are actually pretty good points, but we are going to space first before we fix those problems is because all of humanity will be in danger if we don't move. Because in a couple billion years from now, the sun will expand and eat up Earth. And when that happens, we won't know how to live on another planet. So if we figure out how to make Mars habitable, we can just use that exact same technique on other planets. Like travel to another galaxy or solar system and just use that exact same technique there and live there. So that will actually save the entire humanity. So that's a very long time away from now. Then why don't we fix the problems right now? Well, that's because we are actually fixing those problems. Have you ever seen something like Team Trees or Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation? Bill Gates is trying to vaccinate Africa. Team Trees is trying to put back the dead trees back. And there's so many other programs that are trying to save the earth. So it really isn't like we are doing absolutely nothing to fix our problems. We are doing something, but we are also concentrating on space. So don't complain that we aren't fixing the problems. So let's go on to the next thing, which is why aren't we exploring the oceans before we go onto space? Well, that's also because we're literally exploring them right now. Like there are submarines that are going into the water right now and they are seeing unknown areas of the ocean. So we are also doing that. Now let's talk about what the conspiracy theorists think. So the conspiracy theorists say that the moon landing is faked and we will never go to Mars. Well, my question is, if the moon landing was really fake, then there are two things that would have definitely happened. Number one, there were a lot of people watching the rocket going up. So, why didn't they see a rocket literally fall back down to the Earth? How did the Apollo rocket literally go up and go back down in a couple of days? Then where did that rocket go if we didn't really go to the moon? Where did it go? And number two, there was a country called Russia, or back in the day known as USSR. Why they were definitely looking at the development of the Apollo rockets really closely, and they would have probably they most likely actually recorded all of the rockets through telescopes and stuff, so they would have just told us if it was fake. So conspiracy theories don't make sense. Let's get back to the main concern for people, and that is, how much money are we wasting on space? Well, as it turns out, we aren't actually spending that much money because every year only 0.5% of the budget even goes to NASA. And NASA creates a ton of jobs, so we aren't actually spending that much compared to other things. Finally, let's get back to the main point of the video, and that is, why isn't NASA as innovative as they were before? Well, why NASA isn't as innovative as they were before is because of politics. Well, back then when the space race was going on, a lot of people were excited, and mainly the president was excited to go to the moon. And as you have most likely already heard, he gave this famous speech about it.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win, and the others too. We shall send to the moon 240,000 miles away from the control station in Houston, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall, the length of this football field, made of new metal alloys, some of which have not yet been invented, capable of standing heat and stresses several times more than have ever been experienced, fitted together with a precision better than the finest watch, carrying all the equipment needed for propulsion, guidance, control, communications, food, and survival on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body, and then return it safely to Earth, re-entering the atmosphere at speeds of over 25,000 miles per hour, causing heat about half that on the temperature of the sun, almost as hot as it is here today, and do all this, and do all this, and do it right, and do it first before this decade is out, then we must be bold.
As you just saw, he was really excited to go to the moon, and a ton of people were also like that. But now, the thing that people are looking forward to is Mars, but it seems like Mars is really far away and we're not gonna reach there for a long time, so people aren't that excited for it. And that's the main reason that NASA isn't as innovative as before. So in the end, NASA will most likely go to Mars, but they won't be first. SpaceX will most likely be first because they've been making a ton of progress. But anyways, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed and want to see 2 more space related videos, then make sure to click on these 2. And if you want to see more space videos in the future, then make sure to click on this subscribe button right over here. But until next time, I am Shri.